Seiye confided in Ebike, his stepbrother, that he was signing a $1 billion deal with a big multinational oil company the following day. This was going to be the biggest single deal in the history of Seiye's company, even though Ebike was jumping up and down in jubilation. Deep down his heart was almost tearing into 1,000 pieces out of jealousy and bitterness. He just can't stand the sight of seeing his brother excel. So that very night, in the dead of the night, when everyone was asleep, Ebike sneaked into Seiye's garage to secretly remove the car brake of Seiye's vehicle. He was very silent and moved quietly through the night like a thief. Accessing Seiye's car was a piece of cake. He tampered with the brake quietly and made to leave quickly to avoid being detected. But then he started hearing footsteps. One of Seiye's guards heard some noise coming from the direction of the garage, and he was coming towards him to inspect the area. Ebike was in great panic. He just could not risk getting caught. He immediately hid under one of the cars in the garage. The guards soon arrived at the garage and searched everywhere frantically, but then everything seemed pretty okay to him. He concluded that maybe the sound he heard was from a stray cat, and he went back to his duty post. Ebike breathed a sigh of relief. That was a close one. He waited for some time. Once the coast was clear, he sneaked out of the garage, back into his bedchamber, undetected. The following day was a very special day in the life of Seiye. He was meeting with the top executive of a multinational oil corporation for a massive deal, a deal that would push him among the top richest people in the country. And he was super excited. He woke up early in the morning to prepare for the big day. However, he informed Ebike that he would be following him for this special meeting. He wanted to carry his younger brother along so he could meet some of his powerful friends and create some important relationship. He wanted the best for Ebike. Little did he know that Ebike was planning his downfall. Ebike was greatly terrified. He knew he can't enter Seiye's car. He never expected Seiye would invite him along for this meeting. He knew he must cook up a quick lie that would prevent him from following him that day. Seiye was surprised on his way out to meet Ebike, all shivering and covered up. He told him he was very sick and can't follow him to sign the deal. Seiye was really unhappy. He immediately ordered one of his drivers to take him to the hospital so he could receive proper medical attention. While he made preparation to go to the meeting, but then something rather unusual happened. Seiye's youngest daughter Boma insisted his father should not leave home. She was crying profusely and holding on to him not to leave her. Seiye was very surprised and confused at the strange behavior. He even bribed her with some candy and cash. But all this seemed not to be doing the trick. She was weeping and refusing to be comforted. Seiye was running late for the meeting, and he summoned Denye, his wife, to restrain their daughter while he made his way out. Little did he know this child was an angel God had sent to save his life. Seiye got into his car and they drove off without any suspicion that the effectiveness of his car's brake has been compromised. And just 30 minutes into his journey, the worst happened. Right there on the highway, a careless driver suddenly overtook them. Seiye's driver stepped on the brake to avoid hitting him. The brakes were gone. He was in panic and they lost control, and the car crashed into an electric pole. Luckily, Seiye and the driver did not die, but they were in critical condition, and his entourage immediately stopped to rush them to the hospital. At the emergency ward, the doctor immediately swung into action. They were fighting to keep them alive. They were unconscious and in critical condition. Meanwhile, a lot of drama was going on outside the ward. The news of Seiye's accident had spread like wildfire. Denye, Ese, and Ebike were already at the hospital. They were crying and praying for God to show them mercy. Ebike cried and rolled on the ground, refusing to be comforted.
Oh God, please preserve the life of my brother. Where would they have been if not for my dear brother? God, why was it not I that was in that car instead of him? Oh, what a life!
He lamented. Everyone was touched by his wailing, and they comforted them. After 6 hours of fighting for their dear life, the air doctors came out of the ward to meet with the family. This was the moment of truth.
You all are very lucky. They are stable now, but they had fractured bones, and surgical operation must be carried out on them. We can treat the driver here, but as for Seiye, he must be flown to a top hospital in the United States for his surgery, since a delicate part of his spine had been fractured.
He told them. Immediately, the driver was rolled into the theater for his surgery to commence, while the hospital made arrangements for immediate medical evacuation for Seiye to be flown to the United States the following day. They all breathed a sigh of relief, even though Seiye needed further medical attention. They were thankful to God he was able to make it, even though his case was still a bit critical. The very next day, Seiye was flown out of the country for his surgery, accompanied by Denye and their 2 kids, leaving Essie and Ebike behind to take care of the affairs of the home. At the hospital, after conducting some tests on Seiye, the head surgeon made a very important discovery that would change the trajectory of Seiye's life forever. They discovered that with a proper surgery, Seiye could walk on his feet, but it would be a 50-50 chance of success. If the surgery failed, he would lose sensation completely from his waist down. When the doctor broke this news to Seiye and Denye, they received it with mixed feelings. In as much as he would love to walk, he knew fully well that if the operation failed, he would not be able to serve it out to his wife ever again, and he was not ready to take that risk. But where Denye thought otherwise, she wanted Seiye to try his luck. Sweetheart, you have made me a very fulfilled woman. I have you and 2 lovely kids. What more can I ask for? I will be by your side no matter the outcome of the surgery. I really want you to walk, and I will love you to give this a try, she told him. With these words of encouragement from Denye, Seye decided to give this surgery a try. Meanwhile, Seye told Denye not to inform anyone about this latest development, including Essie and Ibike. So, with fingers crossed and looking up to God to take charge of the whole operation, they rolled him into the theater to perform the surgery on him. Hey, before we jump right back into our story, today massive all go to Miriam, watching from Uganda, and Miss Ruth, watching from Jamaica. Thank you so much for your love and support. Please, where are you watching us from? Type it in the comment section so I can send you a hug in the next episode. Also, don't forget to subscribe to Anita Chocolate and leave a like on this video. Alright, back to our story. And after 8 long hours of intense surgical operation, the head doctor came out with a reassuring smile across his face to break the good news to Denye. The operation was a resounding success. Denye and her kids broke down in tears. These were tears of joy. Finally, Seye can walk for the first time. Even though the operation had been successful, however, Seye needed time for his wound to heal properly. Then he can try using his leg for the first time. And this will take a couple of months. Meanwhile, back home in Nigeria, something was happening. Ebike was squandering Seye's money, even though Ebike pretended to be very unhappy because of the misfortune that befell Seye. Deep down, he was very happy. He never expected he would survive the surgery carried out on him. They had lied to them that Seye was still unconscious following the surgery. This news warmed the heart of Ebike. There is no way that cripple is coming out alive, he thought to himself with a wicked grin across his face, while he envisioned how he was going to seize everything once Seye finally passed away. He immediately resumed his old life of reckless spending. With Seye out of the way and being a branch manager, He started making large withdrawal to fund his lifestyle. He started moving out with different women and sponsoring expensive parties, even at Seiye residence. Meanwhile, Ese had been watching Ebike all this while. She knew something was fishy and she summoned him one evening. My son, I don't understand how you are spending money. I know fully well that your salary cannot afford this lifestyle you are living now. I hope you are not squandering your brother's money, she asked him. Ebike was taken aback. He never expected these words from his mother, and he did not hide his displeasure from her.
Mama, I'm highly disappointed in you. I can't believe you are saying this. The wealth Seiye is enjoying belongs to my father, and I have every right to spend my father's money as much as I could. Besides, it is obvious that cripple would not leave that hospital alive. When he finally kicked the bucket, then I will claim everything for myself as the true heir of this empire.
He told her with a grim face. For a moment, Ese could not believe Ebike was making this utterance. She can't believe he still harbored such hatred for Seye, even after all he did for them. And it began to dawn on her that Ebike may have something to do with Seye's accident. My son, I beg you to retrace your step immediately. There is no amount of evil you plan for Seye that will work. Take a look at me and learn from my mistake. I lost your brother when I attempted to take the life of Seye. I even unalived his mother and my husband just so you, my sons, can inherit everything. But today the whole wealth is back in Seye's lap. You better use your tongue to count your teeth and be at peace with your brother, she advised him. Ebike was very angry. He just can't see any sense in what his mother was telling him, and he marched off angrily. Ese was very sad. She knew Ebike was following the same route she followed some years back, and she knew if he does not retrace his step, he would not end well. Ebike was very angry with Ese, his mother. He felt she was just being a weakling, and he kept on with his wayward attitude. And just like so, 8 months went by. Seye was responding very fine to treatment, and he was able to walk on his feet, much to the great joy of everyone in the hospital. With his head back, Seye and his family were free to return back to Africa, but where there was a lot of surprise awaiting Seye in Nigeria. Seye homecoming came as a big surprise to everyone, most especially Ebike. They had told them he was unconscious all this while. How come he is looking so healthy and walking very fine? He wondered to himself. He was speechless. Everyone was shocked to see Seye walking on his feet. They just could not believe their eyes. And he was invited for interviews where he shared his stories. And all the top news channels carried the story of Seye. He became even more popular and prosperous, and to crown it all up, the company that Seye wanted to sign that contract with contacted him once more so they can finalize their deal. Seye just could not believe all these blessings were just coming his way effortlessly. It was as if he was gaining all he had lost all these months in a matter of weeks. Meanwhile, Ebike was very disturbed. He knew it was a matter of time before Seye would find out he had squandered a lot of his money. And true enough, the very next day, Seye summoned him to appear before him in his office. He had requested for a report from the accountants in all the branches of the company, and he just made the discovery that Ebike had been withdrawing large sum of money over the last couple of months following his medical leave, expenses that were not properly accounted for. Ebike could clearly read the handwriting on the wall. He appeared before Seye, feigning ignorance of why Seye called him. When Seye confronted him as to the fund that has been mismanaged in his absence, Ebike could not give any tangible response. He stuttered while giving some flimsy excuses. Seye was very angry with Ebike. He had been secretly informed of all that happened in his absence, how Ebike threw large parties every weekend and squandered a lot of his money. He was in great shock. He thought Ebike was a changed man, but he had shown his true colors. And out of anger, Seiye decided to fire him and seize all his assets. But then, Ebike fell on his knees. He was crying profusely and begging for mercy.
Please, brother, forgive me. I do not know what came over me. After you got involved in that accident, due to the love I have for you, I fell into depression. So I started throwing some parties to forget my sorrows. Please forgive me and give me a second chance.
He pleaded with him, with more tears flowing down his face. Seiye was silent. He knew his sibling very well. He knew fully well that those were crocodile tears, but all the same, he decided to forgive him and give him one last chance. Ebike thanked Seiye vehemently and left. Back home, Ebike was boiling with anger.
How much did I spend, Seth, that is making say rant like a white dog? Is it not my father's money?
He murmured to himself. Ebike was very sad. He felt very bad that Seiye survived the car accident. And to crown it, due to the accident, a lasting solution has been found for his disability. He wished bad for Seiye, but the heavens were just smiling on him. Ebike was very bitter and he vowed not to rest until he unalived Seiye. He spent the next couple of days racking his brain. He knew he can't tamper with Seiye's car anymore because after the accident, Seiye made sure a team of mechanics inspect his car thoroughly each morning before he drove out. And also trying to poison him was also out of the equation due to how heavily guided Seiye household is. Ebike was very confused and unhappy, and out of frustration, he decided to seek advice from Bishop Ade. Bishop Ade listened as Ebike narrated how he removed Seiye car brake, which made him got involved in a ghastly accident. But instead of him to die, he is alive and his disability was cured overseas. Bishop Ade was silent for a long time. Then he finally replied him.
My son, I can feel your pains, but don't worry yourself. I know how to handle stubborn people like your brother. How do you think I was able to rise very fast to the position of bishop I'm enjoying today? If I'm not a master at eliminating anyone who chooses to stand on my path. Don't worry, I will send my boys after him, but on the condition, after you take over his empire, you must give me 30% of his company shares and you must marry my daughter.
He told him. Ebike was very happy. He saw Bishop Ade terms as being fair enough. He thanked him and he left. Bishop Ade immediately swung into action. He called some assassins he had been using to do his dirty job and he gave them Seiye information to unalive him. The assassins started making plans on the best way to execute the mission. They knew Seiye was always heavily guided with security men and getting to him was not going to be a piece of cake. And they spent several days perfecting their plans and a date was set. Meanwhile, Seiye was going about his daily activities without any single clue. He was in grave danger. One afternoon, Seiye was in his office. He was very busy with a ton of workload on his desk. Meanwhile, there was an urgent meeting he needed to attend to that afternoon, and he summoned Ebike into his office. When he came, he ordered him to represent him for the meeting.
Please, you will represent me for a very important meeting this afternoon. You are going there in my car with one of my entourage following you down.
He told him. With that, he ordered his driver to carry Ebike down for the meeting. Little did Seiye know that God was preserving his life because that same afternoon was the day the assassin planned to ambush Seiye on his way back from work and unalive him. Ebike had a gut feeling that something may go wrong because of the plans he and Bishop Ade had planned for Seiye, but he was not aware the assassins were striking that same day and they drove off for the meeting. And just 5 streets away from Seiye's company, the assassin waylaid them and opened fire on Seiye's car. They thought Seiye was inside the car. A fierce fight soon ensued between Seiye's guard and the assassin. Two of the assassins were unalive, with two others injured. The rest, seeing the professionalism of Seiye's security, knew they must retreat to avoid being annihilated. The two injured assassins were immediately arrested. Meanwhile, Ebike was seriously injured. He had run out of Seiye's car out of panic and was hit by a strange bullet. He was immediately rushed to the hospital, along with all those injured. The news of what has happened traveled so fast, and Seiye soon heard of this. He was in great panic and he immediately rushed down to the hospital to see things for himself. Ese and Denye soon joined them at the hospital. They were crying profusely while Seiye was comforting them and giving them words of encouragement. Meanwhile, the doctors were fighting to save Ebike. After a while, Ebike requested to see Seiye, Denye and Ese, and they were brought before him. And there he made some very shocking revelation.
My brother, please forgive me. I and Bishop Ade sent these assassins after you, so I can claim everything you own for myself. But God saved your life. I'm bearing the consequences of my sins. Please find it in your heart to forgive me. Please take very good care of my mother. She knew nothing about this. In fact, she advised me severally to be at peace with you and desist from my wrongdoings, but I refused.
He told them. With that, he kicked the bucket. Everyone was shocked. Seiye could not stop the tears from flowing down his face. He wondered why Ebike decided to pay him with so much evil. All the same, they all lamented the passing of Ebike. The following day, Seiye swung into action. He ordered for Bishop Ade to be arrested immediately. And soon the police rounded up the remaining members of the gang who had run into hiding. And they were arraigned before the court, and they were found guilty. Bishop Ade was sentenced to life imprisonment due to his old crimes that were brought to light, while the members of the gang were sentenced to 25 years in jail with no option of parole. Following the event that took place, Ese took out time to think about her life. If she had not, because of greed and jealousy, unalived her best friend many years ago and married her husband, all this would not have happened. She would have had a family of her own and not lost her children to the cold hand of death, and she regretted everything greatly. All the same, since she cannot turn back the hands of time, she decided to make up for all her wrongdoing by being a good grandma to Seiye's children. Even though she had lost her sons, she had also gained a son in the person of Seiye, and they all live peacefully together. So here bring our story to a close. What did you learn from this amazing story? Share it with us in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching today's episode from Anita Chocolate. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our future upload. Also, don't forget to leave a like on this video so the YouTube algorithm can recommend this video to more viewers that would also love this story. Meanwhile, take your time to watch these other stories from our channel displaying on the screen while waiting for our future upload. Bye!